the RAG, RAG, and it stood for Replacement Air Group.
Go turn on that light.
I had started with a class of 66 guys,
That one. Okay.
raw civilians. What's going on?
There we go. I'm just getting some light on you. Okay, go.
As a matter of fact, my buddy Charlie Simmons was in class 0966. I was in class 0666. 06 was the June bunch of 66 guys going through. The 0966 was the 66 guys going through in September, and I was 3 months ahead of him, and he wound up in the same group that I was in. But anyway, what I started to tell you about was this. It was built by Douglas to be nuclear delivery capable. And every time we took off, we had a sealed packet that was top secret. And the idea was those were, in case of national emergencies, those are flight plans from where we were going to, from where we took off, because we had a definite target to bomb. Well, if you're delivering a nuclear weapon, you do what's called an over-the-shoulder loft, and you go like this. Say that you want to deliver the nuclear weapon over there at that arm of that you go like this, and then you go up like this with a real high G turn, and up at a very strategic point up at the top, you release the nuclear weapon so that your plane is going this way and the nuclear weapon is going the same way but in the opposite direction. And that's to achieve maximum separation so that when it detonates that you don't get damaged and killed. Well, so that had to be practiced. And my class had dwindled down to 3. There was 3 of us left, and in the particular aircraft that we had chosen, we were assigned according to our grades. People wanted to, at that time, get an A6 billet. That was the cream of the crop. My grades weren't quite as good as some of the rest of them, and so the next choice everybody wanted was an A3. But I made that because my grades were good enough to do that. And so I was in that last class, and we were sitting, finishing up the course, and the teacher, he was a lieutenant in the Navy, came in one morning and he said, "Well," he says, "I've got some news for you." He says, they were practicing. There was a crew. Now I have to let you know this. The crew configuration was just like a commercial airline. There was two pilots in the front, one on the left and one and the first officer on the right, and they were out practicing that over-the-shoulder loft one time, and the co-pilot looked out over the right wing when they were doing this maneuver like this, and he says, "Well," he says, "not only did we loft our nuclear weapon, which was at that time imaginary. They had a way of electronically determining if you had done it right. But this is what he said to the guy on his intercommunication system with his helmet and everything. He says, "Well," he says, "not only did we loft our bomb, but he says we lofted our right engine,
Oh,
and what he was trying to say that the engine had come loose.
are you
I had a
okay?
spasm.
Uh-oh. Do you
Get
need...
the dog.
Okay, hold on.
Not only have we lofted our bomb, but we've lost our right engine. Well, they came back on one engine, and when the CNO, the commander of the Naval Air Operations, heard it right away, the news went out, and he said, "We're going to ground the whole fleet of A3s until we figure out what we're going to do." And when they did that, they did a very intensive study of the airframe, and it didn't take very long for them to realize that Douglas had built that and had specified that there should only be 5,000 maximum airframe hours on an A3, and after that, you had to replace it, but it's too expensive to do that. So in effect, what you did is used up all the assets that the airframe had, and you've got to go park it out at Monson-Davis Air Base, where they have a boneyard out there of all the old airplanes. I've been there. It's a very interesting place. You know, Monson-Davis doesn't have much rain, so they can park it out in the open, and the planes stay just almost as good a condition as when they put it there. They've been there for years and years, and they're in big lines, and it's a fascinating place to go in. But you have to be in the military in order to get in there.
Where is it?
Monson-Davis Air Base in Arizona. Okay, in the desert of Arizona. So they told the three of us, they said the Navy has changed the mission as of now. They're not going to allow the A3 to do the heavy attack bombing anymore because of this deficiency. They determined that they can get some more usage out of it in straight and level flight. And when they said that, there was a collective groan from the three of us because we wanted action. We wanted to get right down to the front, and we wanted the whole ball of wax. And we thought, oh man, this is going to be terrible. This is going to be boring. And it was. As soon as we got, used to what the mission was, it was boring. And what the mission changed from was actual bombing to electronic warfare and refueling. And so we suffered for the rest of the cruise. I mean, I received my orders right away, and I went to a squadron that was designated electronic warfare and refueling. So, but I got up into the battle zone, and I got combat pay because the Vietnamese were launching missiles at us all the time, and one of them could get through our defenses and have got me down, and I wouldn't be here. I would have left a widow behind. So anyway, I thank God for that that happened, but it was a real disappointment when that happened. I mean, I'm speaking like just a 20-year-old with a skull full of mush, So there's your story.
Thank you.
There's your story.
And why did it go from 66 to 3? Just because everybody dropped off, or they failed, or what?
A small portion of them did go to A6s. Maybe about 3 or 5 of them. I don't know. But the rest went to P3 Orions and P2 Neptunes, and those were real boring. I mean, they were like commercial airliners with radar scopes, and these guys were sitting all up and down the fuselage, and they were peering into radar scopes and stuff, and I can't imagine how boring that would have been. But at least I got some combat time, and there was some exciting things that happened. The P3 Orion and the P2 Neptune were not stationed on the aircraft carrier, so they took off and landed from a land-based airport, and it wasn't. There was just no challenge to that at all. So anyway, I got the Lord saw to it that I had a desire to do something, and He let me do it.
Awesome. Yay.
And He let me come home to my beautiful wife.
Yay.
Yeah.
And what kind of grades did you need to get in order to get, you said they weren't as high,
What?
but your grades, what did they have to be in order to get the A3?
Oh, I never did hear the criteria. They graded you on three things. They graded you on what you picked up in aeronautics, and your performance in flight. They graded you on military stuff, and they graded you on academics. And they posted the grades on the barrack doors, and there weren't any names associated with them. You were assigned a number, so you looked for your number and you saw what your grade was. And I was fairly decent. I was fairly decent there, and the Lord helped me.
Decent as in what?
In athletics, they had things like an 18-foot wall with a rope hanging down, and you had to. This was early in the training. You had to go scale that rope up and come down on the other side within within a certain time period. What? She's going to sleep?
Oh.
It's time for me to go.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for your story.
So anyway, that's kind of what it was. Some dropped out because in survival school, they turned you loose. You need another whole night to talk about that. That's we don't have enough time to do that
All right.
now.
We'll smile
So,
and say goodbye.
anyway, I have the disconcerting feeling like I'm being spied on. This gizmo you've got here.
I'm just recording because I want to remember your story.
No.
And somebody will hack in there.
All right.
I don't like the attention.
Okay.
I'm not-
Well,
I'm
thanks
not-
for your story. Love
She's
you.
also going to post it
I
on
don't want to be
Facebook.
talking about this stuff.
Lincoln